Welcome to Ovation. In this video, you'll learn how to work with customized factors to significantly improve our ability to provide relevant feedback for unique use cases. Ovation does a great job of providing feedback, but there may be times when we want to really customize the way that feedback is provided in a specific scenario or even in our organization in a specific way. To do that, if I go into my organization and I go into factors, I can go in and create unique organization factors, but let's begin by taking a look at the default factors that Ovation provides. You'll notice that for each scenario here, there are no factors listed. This just means that if I use this scenario, Ovation will choose the factors for me, the default for those scenarios. But let's say for a speech, I have very specific feedback that I'd like to provide. I can choose any of the different factors that Ovation has. So for example, I can choose up to 5. So let's say I would like my speeches to have structure to them. I would like my speeches to be engaging. I would like my speakers to ensure that they focus on originality. I could have my speakers focus on engagement. And notice that engagement is twice, so I receive that warning. So I'm going to go in and say appeal, and maybe I want to ensure that my speakers have good structure. Oh, that's already in there. So we'll choose conciseness. So you can see I've customized the speech scenario with my factors rather than the default factors that Ovation would provide. If I ever want to erase what I've done, I can always go down into the danger zone and set everything back to the defaults. A lot of times if I'm creating a feedback structure, I will go through those scenarios that are important to my organization and I'll ensure that I customize them, or if I'm happy with the defaults, I'll keep those. I can even create my own factors. So let's say within my organization, I want to ensure that we have positivity. So I could choose either a specific scenario to introduce positivity to, or I could make it available to all scenarios. So I'll call this positivity. And what we'll be able to do is use a description so that the AI is able to determine what it means to be positive in a speech. I could obviously expand upon this, make it very customized to my organization, or drill down into what I consider aspects of positive speech. But I could put this in here and I'd save this factor, and this now becomes available to me in any of my scenarios. So if I then go into one of my scenarios, let's say for example, if I go into an elevator pitch, you'll notice that I can choose clarity, I could choose pervasiveness, I could choose conciseness, and I can choose positivity. I can even choose engagement. So now I've created these factors in the elevator pitch, and I will be evaluated as I practice the elevator pitch on these factors. This will then be included in my reports. This will then be included in any time that I'm working with an elevator pitch. I now have my positivity, my organization factor in there. So factors are very powerful. Let's go to have a look in the headset of how I'm now evaluated on these criteria when I do an elevator pitch. So now that I've chosen which factors I'd like to be evaluated on when it comes to an elevator pitch, including my organizational factor of positivity, I'm going to go in and do an elevator pitch. Of course, this takes place in an elevator, and I can customize the scenario more, but I'm just going to do a standard elevator pitch and then look at the different factors that I'm evaluated on. Hello, Jane. Thank you so much for being in that meeting with me. I was really happy when I saw that you were there. So thank you again for agreeing to be on board. I really appreciate you, and I'm looking very forward to this project.
All right, I see where you're going with this. The idea of using VR to enhance communication skills is pretty innovative. Let's set up a follow-up meeting to discuss further.
As you can see, I will get a full transcript of everything that was said during my elevator pitch, and I'll get a breakdown of the different factors, including positivity. If I look at the full report, I can see that I've got clarity, pervasiveness, conciseness, positivity, and you can see that based upon the factors that I considered important to demonstrate positivity, It's rated me 85%, showing the warmth and positivity throughout the pitch. Things like saying thank you so much for being in the meeting with me. In fact, if we go to quotes, you'll see that some of those quotes may appear in here as well. And some tips to improve will be very welcome as well. But the key element here is these factors are now balanced across these 5 factors. I can select a specific factor and even update them as a user if that's permitted. So you can see I have a lot of feedback that can be very targeted to the things that I need to work on or that I would like to work on. Feedback is critical for improving skills. Targeted feedback just makes that skill development better, and customized targeted feedback, well, that even makes it better. Ovation provides that through the use of factors, factor customization, and organizational factors. We'll see you in the next video where we learn even more about how Ovation can help us develop our communication skills.